Have you ever felt like your mind is running in circles? Like no matter how much you try to stay calm, focused or resilient, the chaos of life keeps pulling you in every direction. You're not alone. The modern world is fast-paced, unpredictable, and full of distractions, which makes mental strength more important than ever. But here's the good news. Building a strong mind isn't about being naturally gifted or immune to stress. It's about learning how to face life's challenges with intention, clarity, and purpose. And who better to guide us on this journey than Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher whose wisdom has inspired millions for over 2,000 years. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, plagues, and political turmoil during his reign, yet he remained calm, focused, and thoughtful. How did he do it? Through a set of principles that can help anyone strengthen their mind and live with greater purpose. In today's episode, we'll dive into 10 powerful lessons from Marcus Aurelius that will not only help you navigate life's challenges, but also teach you how to build mental resilience, focus on what truly matters, and show up as the best version of yourself every single day. Whether you're dealing with fear, uncertainty, or the distractions of modern life, these tips are timeless, practical, and life-changing. So if you're ready to take control of your mind and live with more strength, clarity, and intention, let's dive in. 1. Facing fear as the first step to freedom. Fear, it's the one emotion we all know too well. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Fear is universal. It can show up as anxiety before making a big decision, hesitation when starting something new, or even a deep-rooted avoidance of situations that challenge you. But what separates those who thrive from those who remain stuck is how they deal with fear. For Marcus Aurelius, fear wasn't something to avoid. It was something to confront. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote, "Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Don't try to picture everything bad that could happen. Stick with the situation at hand." What he's saying is powerful. Fear often isn't about the present moment. It's about the stories we create in our minds about what might happen. We exaggerate risks, blow up problems, and turn manageable challenges into insurmountable obstacles, all without taking a single step forward. Think back to a time when fear stopped you. Maybe it was applying for a job you wanted but didn't feel qualified for. Maybe it was having a tough conversation with a friend or loved one. Or maybe it was simply trying something new, like learning a skill or pursuing a dream. Chances are the fear wasn't about the action itself. It was about the possibility of failure, rejection, or embarrassment. But here's the thing. Fear only has as much power as you give it. Marcus Aurelius understood that. As a Roman emperor, he faced challenges most of us can't even imagine: wars, political betrayals, and the ever-present threat of losing his empire. Yet, he didn't let fear dictate his actions. Instead, he focused on what he could control in the present moment. Fear, at its core, is a natural response. It's your mind's way of protecting you from harm. But in the modern world, most of our fears aren't about physical survival. They're psychological. They stem from uncertainty, change, and the possibility of failure. And when left unchecked, they can paralyze us, keeping us stuck in our comfort zones. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a diving board for the first time. The water below seems so far away, and your mind is racing. What if I mess up? What if I land wrong? What if people laugh at me? These thoughts create a mental barrier, making the jump feel impossible. But once you take that leap, once you hit the water and realize you're okay, you wonder why you were so afraid in the first place. That's the lesson Marcus Aurelius wanted us to learn. Fear loses its grip when we face it. By staying present, focusing on what's real and actionable in the moment, we strip fear of its power. Now let's bring this idea into the context of modern life. Fear isn't just about diving boards or physical risks. It shows up in subtle, everyday ways. Maybe you've been holding off on asking for a raise at work because you're afraid of being rejected. Or maybe you've wanted to start a side project, like writing a book or launching a business, but you're paralyzed by the fear of failing. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could realistically happen? Often, the answer isn't as catastrophic as it feels. If your boss says no to the raise, life goes on. If your side project doesn't succeed, you've gained experience and insight you can use next time. Fear thrives on uncertainty, but when you bring it into the light and examine it, it starts to shrink. Marcus Aurelius would encourage us to act despite our fears. He believed that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action even when fear is present. This principle applies to everything in life. Want to build stronger relationships? It might mean opening up emotionally, even if it makes you feel vulnerable. Want to grow in your career? It might mean taking on challenges that scare you, like public speaking or stepping into a leadership role. Facing fear doesn't mean recklessness. It's not about ignoring risks or diving headfirst into danger. It's about taking measured, intentional steps toward what you want, even when fear whispers in your ear. Here's a practical exercise to help you start facing your fears. The next time you feel fear holding you back, pause. Write down exactly what you're afraid of. Then, break it into 2 parts. 1. What's the worst that could happen? 2. What's the best that could happen? Often you'll realize the worst-case scenario isn't as bad as your mind makes it out to be. And the best-case scenario? That's where growth happens. Take the example of someone who's afraid of starting a conversation with a stranger at an event. The worst that could happen, they're not interested, and the conversation ends quickly. The best that could happen? You make a meaningful connection, gain a new opportunity, or even start a friendship. Fear also has a physical component. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your breathing quickens. Instead of fighting these sensations, use them as a signal that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. Remind yourself, this isn't danger, this is growth. Marcus Aurelius faced the unknown every day as emperor, but he didn't let fear define him. He focused on what he could do in the moment, staying grounded and courageous. You can do the same. Whether it's a big decision or a small step, choose to face fear with clarity and purpose. Because here's the truth, fear will always be there. It's a part of being human, but it doesn't have to control you. When you face it, you take the first step toward freedom. And with every fear you conquer, you strengthen your mind, your courage, and your ability to live life fully. 2. Focusing only on things within your control. Control, it's something we all crave, but the reality is, much of life is outside of it. How many times have you worried about things that you couldn't change? Maybe it's a coworker's attitude, the weather ruining your plans, or someone's opinion of you. These things eat away at your peace of mind, but here's the truth. They're not in your control. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, believed that learning to focus solely on what you can control is the foundation of mental strength. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This idea is simple, but life-changing. When you stop worrying about what's beyond your control and focus on what's within your power, your actions, your thoughts, and your mindset, you reclaim your peace. Think about it. How often do we waste energy trying to control things that aren't ours to control? Maybe you've had a long day and someone cuts you off in traffic. You get angry, honk your horn, and replay the moment over and over in your head. But here's the question: does getting upset change the situation? Does it make traffic move faster? Of course not. What you can control in that moment is how you respond. Do you let it ruin your mood, or do you take a deep breath and move on? This principle applies to almost every aspect of life. Consider your relationships. You can't control how someone else feels about you or how they treat you, but you can control how you respond to them. You can choose to be kind, to set boundaries, or even to walk away if the relationship isn't serving you. Now let's take this idea into the workplace. Maybe you're working on a project and your boss gives you last-minute changes that disrupt your plans. It's frustrating, right? But you can't control their actions. What you can control is how you handle the situation. You can choose to adapt, do your best, and let go of the resentment. That doesn't mean you're ignoring the frustration. It means you're deciding not to let it control you. The Stoics believed that freedom comes from focusing on what's within your power. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." What does this mean in practice? It means letting go of things that don't belong to you. You don't own other people's opinions, the past, or the unpredictable nature of life. But you do own your attitude, your actions, and the way you choose to show up every day. Let's bring this into a modern example. Imagine you post something on social media that you're proud of, a piece of art, a thoughtful comment, or even a photo you love. Then you notice it doesn't get the likes or comments you expected. You start to doubt yourself. Did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough? But here's the thing: you don't control how people react. You only control why you posted it in the first place. Did it matter to you? Was it meaningful for you? If the answer is yes, that's all that matters. Marcus Aurelius would remind you that focusing on external validation, whether it's likes on a post, someone's approval, or the outcome of a situation, leads to unnecessary stress. Instead, he'd encourage you to focus on your intentions and efforts, because those are the things within your power. Here's a practical exercise to help you live this principle. The next time you feel stressed or frustrated, pause and ask yourself these 3 questions. 1. Is this within my control? 2. If it's not, why am I wasting energy on it? 3. If it is, what can I do right now to improve the situation? For example, if you're preparing for an important interview, focus on what you can control: your preparation, your attitude, and your presentation. Don't waste energy worrying about whether the interviewer will like you. That's not up to you. This mindset also applies to your goals. Let's say you're working toward a promotion, but the process feels slow and uncertain. Instead of obsessing over when or if it will happen, focus on doing your best work every day. Control the effort you put in, not the outcome. Over time, those efforts will pay off, whether it's with the promotion or another opportunity you didn't expect. The beauty of focusing on what's within your control is that it brings you peace. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances because you're no longer trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, you're investing your energy where it matters, on the things you can influence. Think of your mind like a garden. If you spend all your time worrying about the weather or pests you can't control, your plants will wither. But if you focus on what's within your power, watering, weeding, and nurturing your garden, it will thrive, no matter what challenges come your way. Marcus Aurelius faced challenges far greater than most of us will ever know, yet he chose to focus on what he could control: his thoughts, his actions, and his responsibilities as a leader. That's why his wisdom has endured for centuries. So the next time life feels overwhelming, remember this: you don't control the storm, but you do control how you navigate it. Focus on your effort, your attitude, and the way you respond. That's where your real power lies. 3. Exercising patience in the hardest times. Patience. It's a word we hear all the time, but let's face it, it's one of the hardest virtues to practice, especially when life gets tough. Whether it's waiting for results you've worked so hard for, dealing with a challenging situation, or simply enduring something that feels unfair, patience can feel like a mountain we're not always ready to climb. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, believed that patience isn't just a virtue, it's a superpower. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." What does this mean? It means that the frustration and impatience we feel don't come from the situation itself. They come from how we perceive it. We often make things harder by expecting them to resolve faster than they can, or by fixating on the discomfort of waiting. But patience teaches us to let go of these expectations and focus on enduring the moment with grace. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. The minutes tick by, and your stress rises with every red light. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you experience it. You could spend the time fuming, honking your horn, and letting your impatience ruin your day. Or you could take a breath, turn on a podcast or some music, and use the time to reflect or relax. That's the choice patience gives you. It allows you to turn frustration into calm. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about how you wait. The Stoics believed that the hardest times in life are the greatest opportunities to practice patience and strengthen your mind. Seneca. Another great Stoic said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Think about a moment when you've been on the verge of losing your temper. Maybe a coworker criticized your work unfairly, or someone cut you off in a conversation. In those moments, your first instinct might be to react, to snap back, to defend yourself, or to let your anger show. But what if instead you paused? What if you gave yourself a moment to breathe, reflect, and respond with clarity instead of emotion? That's patience in action, and it's one of the most powerful tools you can use to navigate life's challenges. Patience also teaches us resilience. Life rarely goes according to plan, and the path to achieving your goals is often full of setbacks. Whether it's building a career, improving your health, or growing as a person, progress takes time. Impatience can make you give up too soon, but patience helps you stay the course. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. Let's take a modern example. Imagine you've started a fitness journey. You're eating healthier, working out regularly, and doing everything right, but the results aren't showing as quickly as you'd hoped. It's tempting to think, why bother? This isn't working. But that's where patience comes in. It reminds you that real, lasting change takes time. Every small step, every healthy choice adds up, even if you can't see the results yet. The same principle applies to your career. Maybe you're working hard for a promotion or trying to launch your own business, but progress feels slow. Patience teaches you to focus on the process, not just the outcome. It's about showing up every day, putting in the effort, and trusting that the results will come when the time is right. But patience isn't just about enduring. It's also about letting go of things you can't control. Think about how much stress comes from wanting things to happen faster or differently than they are. Maybe you're waiting to hear back about a job interview or dealing with a relationship issue that feels unresolved. Worrying won't speed up the outcome, and frustration won't make the process smoother. Patience allows you to accept the uncertainty and stay grounded in the present moment. Here's a practical way to build patience in your life. The next time you find yourself feeling impatient, try this 3-step process. 1. Pause and breathe. Take a moment to slow down and calm your mind. Recognize that the impatience you're feeling is temporary. Shift your focus. Instead of fixating on what's not happening, focus on what you can do right now. If you're stuck waiting, use the time productively. Read, reflect, or simply relax. 3. Practice gratitude. Remind yourself that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Patience isn't just about enduring, it's about learning to appreciate the journey. One of the greatest lessons from Marcus Aurelius is that patience isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice you make to endure with strength and clarity, to resist the urge to react impulsively, and to trust the process of life. And here's the thing, people notice patience. They admire the person who stays calm under pressure, who doesn't let frustration cloud their judgment, and who approaches challenges with a steady mind. Patience isn't just a personal virtue, it's a sign of strength that inspires others. So, the next time you're faced with a situation that tests your patience, remember this: you're not just waiting, you're building resilience, clarity, and strength. You're practicing one of the greatest skills a person can have. And with every moment of patience, you're becoming a stronger, calmer, and more grounded version of yourself. Because, as the Stoics teach us, the hardest times in life aren't obstacles, they're opportunities. And patience is the key to turning those opportunities into growth. 4. Learning and growing from criticism. Criticism, it's one of those things that's hard to avoid and even harder to handle. Whether it comes from a friend, a boss, or a stranger on social media, criticism can feel like a blow to your confidence. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, believed that criticism isn't something to fear or resist. It's something to learn from. In fact, he saw it as an essential part of personal growth. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote, "If anyone can prove and show to me that I think or act in error, I will gladly change it, for I seek the truth, by which no one has ever been harmed. The harm is to persist in one's own self-deception and ignorance." This perspective is both humbling and empowering. It reminds us that criticism, when approached with the right mindset, isn't an attack, it's a gift. It's an opportunity to see ourselves more clearly, to correct mistakes, and to grow into better versions of ourselves. Let's start by acknowledging the reality. Nobody likes to be criticized. It's uncomfortable, and it can make you feel exposed or inadequate. But the Stoics teach us that our discomfort with criticism often comes from ego. When someone points out a flaw or mistake, our first instinct is to defend ourselves or dismiss them. But what if, instead of reacting emotionally, you paused? What if you asked yourself, is there truth in what they're saying? Imagine you're at work and your boss tells you that your presentation wasn't as clear or effective as it could have been. Your initial reaction might be frustration or embarrassment. But instead of letting those emotions take over, consider this. Your boss's feedback isn't about tearing you down, it's about helping you improve. By listening, reflecting, and applying their advice, you're not just becoming better at your job, you're becoming better at handling life. This approach to criticism is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus, another great Stoic thinker, said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." In other words, the way you respond to criticism is entirely within your control. You can choose to see it as an attack, or you can choose to see it as a learning moment. This doesn't mean you have to accept every critique blindly. Instead, it means approaching feedback with an open mind and separating useful insights from noise. Let's take a modern example: social media. It's a space where criticism flows freely, often from people you don't even know. You post something meaningful to you, a piece of art, a personal thought, or even just a picture, and someone leaves a negative comment. It stings, doesn't it? But here's the thing. Not all criticism is created equal. Marcus Aurelius would encourage you to ask, is this feedback useful, or is it just noise? If it's noise, let it go. If it's useful, use it to grow. Learning from criticism doesn't mean losing your sense of self. It means having the humility to recognize that you don't know everything and the strength to adapt and improve. Imagine an athlete training for a competition. Their coach constantly critiques their form, their strategy, and their execution. The athlete could take it personally and quit, or they could use that feedback to refine their skills and become stronger. The same principle applies to life. Marcus Aurelius also reminds us to consider the source of criticism. If the feedback comes from someone who knows you well, respects you, and wants the best for you, it's worth taking seriously. But if it comes from someone who doesn't understand you or has ulterior motives, you can acknowledge it without letting it affect your self-worth. Here's a practical way to approach criticism. 1. Pause before reacting. When someone critiques you, your first instinct might be to defend yourself. Instead, take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to process. 2. Separate emotion from truth. Ask yourself, is there something valuable in this feedback? Is there a lesson I can learn? 3. Respond with gratitude. If the feedback is constructive, thank the person for their insight, even if it's hard to hear. If it's not, let it roll off your back. Let's bring this closer to home. Maybe a friend tells you that you've been distant lately, and it hurts to hear. Your initial reaction might be to deny it or get defensive. But what if you paused and thought, is there truth in this? Have I been less present? If the answer is yes, you've just gained an opportunity to strengthen your relationship. Criticism also teaches us resilience. Not every piece of feedback will be delivered kindly, and not every critique will be fair. But by choosing to respond with grace and curiosity, you build mental strength. You show yourself and others that you're not afraid of growth, even when it's uncomfortable. Marcus Aurelius faced constant criticism as emperor. Every decision he made was scrutinized, yet he didn't let that paralyze him. Instead, he focused on what he could learn adjusted where necessary, and stayed true to his principles. Here's your takeaway. Criticism isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a tool for growth. The next time someone critiques you, pause, look for the lesson. Thank them if it's helpful, and move on if it's not. Because when you learn to embrace criticism with humility and strength, you don't just grow, you thrive. And that kind of mindset, it's unstoppable. 5. Adapting to changing circumstances. Change. It's one of the only constants in life, yet it's something we often resist with everything we've got. Whether it's a sudden shift at work, an unexpected turn in a relationship, or a global event that upends your plans, change can feel unsettling, like the ground is shifting beneath your feet. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, believed that our ability to adapt is one of the greatest strengths we can cultivate. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the foundation of the Stoic approach to change. You can't always control what happens, but you can control how you respond. Instead of fighting change or clinging to what was, you can choose to adapt, to flow with life instead of against it. Think about how often we resist change. Maybe you've lost a job or faced a major life transition. Your first reaction might be denial, clinging to how things were, or wishing they could go back to the way they used to be. But the reality is, life doesn't move backward. Resisting change only adds to your stress and frustration. Adapting to it, on the other hand, gives you the strength to move forward. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're working on a big project, and suddenly the client changes the scope at the last minute. It's frustrating, right? Your hard work feels wasted, and now you have to adjust everything. You could spend time complaining, feeling resentful, and wishing things were different. Or you could refocus your energy on adapting to the new situation. By staying flexible, you not only save your peace of mind, but also prove to yourself and others that you can handle unexpected challenges. Seneca. Another great Stoic philosopher had this to say about change. "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Change is often the friction that forces us to grow. It challenges us to step out of our comfort zones, to think differently, and to develop resilience. Without it, we'd stay stuck, comfortable perhaps, but stagnant. Think about how you've adapted in the past. Maybe you moved to a new city, started a new job, or faced a health challenge. At first it was hard. You missed the familiar, felt out of place, or doubted your ability to handle it. But over time, you adjusted. You learned new skills, found new routines, and discovered strengths you didn't know you had. That's the power of adaptability. It turns change into an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius faced immense changes during his reign as emperor. From wars to plagues to political unrest, his world was constantly shifting. Yet, he didn't waste time wishing for stability or certainty. Instead, he focused on what he could do in the moment, adapting to each challenge with clarity and purpose. One of the biggest lessons from Stoicism is that life is unpredictable. You can plan, prepare, and hope for the best, but things won't always go the way you expect. Instead of resisting this truth, the Stoics teach us to embrace it. They call this practice amor fati, or love of fate. It means accepting whatever happens, not just grudgingly, but with gratitude, seeing it as part of your journey. Here's a modern example. Imagine you've been saving up for a big vacation, But at the last minute, something unexpected forces you to cancel your plans. You could let the disappointment consume you, or you could adapt. Maybe you plan a smaller trip closer to home, or maybe you use the time and money to invest in something else you've been wanting to do. By shifting your mindset, you turn what feels like a setback into an opportunity. So how do you cultivate adaptability in your daily life? Here are 3 steps. 1. Expect change. Remind yourself that life is dynamic and unexpected shifts are part of the process. When you stop expecting things to stay the same, you're less shaken when they change. 2. Focus on what you can control. You can't stop the change, but you can choose how you respond to it. Ask yourself, what's the next best step I can take? 3. Reframe challenges as opportunities. Instead of seeing change as a disruption, look for the lessons and growth it offers. What can you learn? How can this make you stronger? Adaptability isn't about being passive or accepting defeat. It's about staying flexible and resourceful, finding solutions instead of getting stuck in frustration. It's about being like water, able to flow around obstacles, fill any container, and adjust to any situation. When you approach life with this mindset, you become unshakable. You stop fearing change because you know you can handle it. You see it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to prove to yourself just how resilient you are. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The next time life throws you a curveball, take a moment to pause. Instead of resisting, ask yourself, how can I adapt? What can I learn from this? Because in the end, it's not the change itself that defines you. It's how you respond to it. And when you learn to embrace change with strength and flexibility, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. 6. Acting with virtue in all decisions. What guides your decisions? Is it convenience, pressure, or a desire to please others? Or is it something deeper, something rooted in your values and sense of what's right? Marcus Aurelius believed that the key to a strong and fulfilling life lies in acting with virtue, no matter the situation. For him, virtue wasn't just a philosophical concept. It was the foundation of every choice, every action, and every interaction. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This idea is deceptively simple. It challenges us to pause and reflect on our choices, asking ourselves, is this the right thing to do? Does this align with my values? It's not always the easiest path, but it's the one that leads to true fulfillment and respect from others, and more importantly, from yourself. Let's break this down. Acting with virtue means making decisions based on principles like honesty, fairness, and integrity, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. It's about staying true to what you believe in, regardless of external pressures or temptations. Imagine you're at work, and you notice a colleague taking credit for something you did. The easy thing might be to stay quiet, avoid confrontation, and let it go. But acting with virtue means addressing the situation, not out of anger or revenge, but out of a commitment to fairness. You might calmly clarify your contribution or have a respectful conversation with your colleague. By choosing integrity over avoidance, you're not just standing up for yourself. You're staying true to your principles. Seneca. Another great Stoic philosopher said, "What is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always right." This is especially relevant in today's world, where popularity and social validation often take precedence over authenticity. Think about how many decisions are influenced by the desire to fit in or gain approval, whether it's saying yes to something you don't believe in, following trends that don't resonate with you, or compromising your values to avoid conflict. Acting with virtue means letting go of these external pressures and choosing what's right, even if it's not the easiest or most popular choice. But acting with virtue isn't just about big moral decisions. It's about the small, everyday choices too. It's about being honest when it's tempting to lie, being kind when it's easier to be dismissive, and staying true to your word, even when it's inconvenient. These seemingly small actions build your character over time, shaping the kind of person you are. Consider a personal example. Imagine you've promised a friend you'd help them move, but when the day comes, you're tired and don't feel like it. The virtuous choice would be to honor your commitment, not because you have to, but because keeping your word is a reflection of your integrity. On the other hand, if helping your friend means neglecting a serious responsibility, the virtuous choice might be to explain your situation honestly and make it up to them later. Acting with virtue isn't about rigid rules. It's about aligning your actions with your values and the greater good. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the importance of acting with virtue in the face of challenges. Life is full of situations that test your patience, your kindness, and your sense of fairness. Maybe someone treats you unfairly, or you're faced with a decision where the right choice is the harder one. In these moments, Marcus would remind you to stay grounded in virtue, no matter what. He wrote, "You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means that even when circumstances are tough or people act unfairly, you can still choose to act with integrity. Your actions are yours to control, and they reflect the person you aspire to be. Here's a practical exercise to bring this principle into your life. Before making a decision, ask yourself these 3 questions. 1. Is this aligned with my values? 2. Will this choice bring me closer to the person I want to be? 3. Am I acting with honesty, kindness, and fairness? If the answer to any of these is no, take a step back and reconsider. Virtuous decisions often require courage and reflection, but they're worth it. Let's take a modern example: social media. It's easy to get caught up in arguments or post something impulsively when emotions run high. But acting with virtue means pausing to consider. Is this post kind? Is it true? Does it contribute positively to the conversation? By choosing virtue over impulse, you not only avoid unnecessary conflict, you also build a reputation for thoughtfulness and integrity. Acting with virtue also means treating yourself with kindness and fairness. It's about holding yourself to high standards while recognizing that you're human and imperfect. If you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. Instead, take responsibility, learn from it, and commit to doing better next time. Over time, living with virtue creates a sense of inner peace. You'll know that your actions align with your values, and that's a powerful feeling. People will notice too. There's something magnetic about someone who consistently acts with integrity and kindness. They inspire trust and respect without even trying. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, remember Marcus Aurelius's words: "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Let virtue guide you, not just in the big moments, but in the small, everyday choices that shape who you are. Because in the end, Acting with virtue isn't just about doing the right thing. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. 7. Letting go of unnecessary distractions. Distractions, they're everywhere. From the constant ping of notifications to endless scrolling on social media, our lives are filled with things that pull us away from what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius lived in a time long before smartphones and email, yet even then he understood the danger of distractions. He believed that to live a meaningful and focused life, we must let go of what doesn't serve us. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't meant to be grim. It's a reminder of how precious our time is. When we're distracted, we let life slip through our fingers. Instead of focusing on our goals, our growth, or the people we care about, we waste hours, days, or even years on things that don't matter. Let's be honest, distractions feel good in the moment. Checking your phone, watching one more episode, or getting lost in a stream of trivial updates provides instant gratification. But over time, these distractions add up, leaving you feeling unproductive, disconnected, and unfulfilled. The Stoics understood that true happiness and clarity come not from indulgence, but from discipline and focus. Imagine you're working on a personal goal, maybe learning a new skill or pursuing a passion project. You sit down with the best intentions, but within minutes you're checking emails, browsing headlines, or scrolling through social media. Before you know it, hours have passed, and your goal remains untouched. Sound familiar? Marcus Aurelius would remind you that distractions are often a way to avoid discomfort. When faced with something challenging, like writing, exercising, or having a difficult conversation, it's easier to turn to something mindless. But the price of distraction is high. It steals your time, your focus, and ultimately, your potential. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, warned against this when he said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about how often we waste time on things that don't matter. How many hours do we spend refreshing our feeds, worrying about things we can't control, or saying yes to commitments we don't care about? Letting go of unnecessary distractions isn't about cutting out all entertainment or relaxation. It's about being intentional with your time. Here's a modern example: social media. It can be a great tool for connection and inspiration, but it's also a major source of distraction. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I looking for? If it's just to pass time or avoid something else, consider stepping away. Use that time to work on something meaningful, spend time with loved ones, or even just reflect in silence. Letting go of distractions also means saying no to things that don't align with your priorities. Maybe it's declining an invitation that doesn't excite you, cutting back on activities that drain your energy, or setting boundaries with people who constantly pull you off track. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our time is limited and precious. Saying no to distractions is saying yes to what truly matters. Here's a practical exercise to start clearing distractions from your life. 1. Identify your priorities. Write down the things that matter most to you, your goals, values, and relationships. These are your guiding lights. Audit your time. Spend a day tracking how you actually use your time. Be honest. How much of it goes to distractions that don't serve your priorities? 3. Create boundaries. Set limits on things that pull your focus, like social media, email, or unnecessary commitments. Use tools like timers or apps to help you stay on track. Replace distractions with intention. When you feel the urge to check your phone or escape into something mindless, pause. Ask yourself, what's a better use of this time? Then choose something aligned with your goals or values. Let's take another example. Imagine you're spending time with your family, but your mind keeps wandering to work emails or the latest news. You're physically present, but mentally absent. By letting go of these distractions, turning off notifications, setting boundaries with work, and truly focusing on the people around you, you deepen your connections and create moments that matter. Letting go of distractions isn't just about productivity, it's about presence. It's about being fully engaged with what you're doing, whether it's working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying a quiet moment alone. When you remove distractions, you create space for clarity, creativity, and connection. Marcus Aurelius also believed that distractions often come from within, our own thoughts, worries, and desires. He wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do." This means letting go of the mental distractions that pull you away from your path. Stop worrying about what others think. Stop chasing things that don't align with your values, and focus on your own actions. When you let go of unnecessary distractions, you reclaim your time, your focus, and your life. You stop drifting and start moving with intention. And the best part, the more you practice this, the easier it becomes. So, the next time you catch yourself pulled into something meaningless, pause. Remind yourself of what truly matters. Turn off the noise, focus on your priorities, and give your full attention to the moment. Because as Marcus Aurelius teaches us, the key to a meaningful life isn't more, it's less. Less distraction, more intention. Less noise, more clarity. And when you let go of what doesn't matter, you make space for what does. 8. Embracing silence as a time for reflection. Silence, it's something we rarely experience in today's noisy, fast-paced world. There's always something demanding our attention, the buzz of notifications, the hum of conversations, or the endless stream of content competing for our focus. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, understood the immense value of silence. He saw it as more than just an absence of noise. He saw it as a powerful space for reflection, clarity, and inner growth. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This idea is profound. Silence isn't just about external stillness. It's about creating an internal space where you can retreat, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. In silence, we have the opportunity to step back from the chaos of life, examine our thoughts, and focus on what truly matters. Think about how rare it is to be truly silent. When was the last time you sat alone, without distractions, and allowed yourself to simply think? For many of us, silence can feel uncomfortable. We're so used to filling every moment with noise, whether it's music, conversations, or scrolling through our phones, that the idea of doing nothing feels unnatural. But that discomfort is precisely why silence is so important. It forces us to face ourselves, to confront our thoughts, and to process what's going on in our minds and lives. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, emphasized the value of stillness and reflection. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Silence gives us the chance to recognize this. It allows us to separate the real challenges we face from the imagined fears and anxieties that cloud our minds. When we embrace silence, we can cut through the noise and focus on what's real, what's important, and what's within our control. Let's bring this idea into the context of modern life. Imagine you've had a long, stressful day at work. Your mind is racing with unfinished tasks, difficult conversations, and looming deadlines. Your first instinct might be to distract yourself, turn on the TV, scroll through social media, or call a friend to vent. But what if instead you chose silence? What if you took just 10 minutes to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and reflect on the day? In that silence, you might find clarity. You might realize that some of the things you're stressing about aren't as urgent as they feel. You might even discover a new perspective or solution to a problem that's been weighing on you. Silence also helps us tune into our inner wisdom. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to lose touch with our intuition, our values, and our long-term goals. But in moments of stillness, we can reconnect with these deeper parts of ourselves. Marcus Aurelius often used his silent reflections to remind himself of his principles and to realign with the person he wanted to be. One of the most powerful benefits of silence is that it helps us become better decision-makers. When we're constantly surrounded by noise, it's hard to think clearly. Our minds become cluttered, and we're more likely to react impulsively or make decisions based on short-term emotions rather than long-term wisdom. But when we take the time to step back, reflect, and process our thoughts in silence, we create the mental space needed to make thoughtful, intentional choices. Here's a practical way to incorporate silence into your daily life. 1. Start small. Set aside just 5 to 10 minutes a day to sit quietly, free from distractions. You don't need to meditate or follow any specific technique. Just be present with yourself. Create a routine. Choose a consistent time and place for your moments of silence, whether it's in the morning before the day begins, during a break at work, or in the evening before bed. 3. Use silence for reflection. During these moments, ask yourself simple questions like, what went well today? What could I improve? What truly matters to me right now? 4. Embrace the discomfort. If silence feels awkward or uncomfortable at first, that's okay. Lean into it. Over time, you'll find that it becomes a source of strength and clarity. Silence isn't just about being alone with your thoughts. It's about creating space for growth, healing, and insight. It's about giving yourself permission to pause, to breathe, and to reconnect with your inner self. Marcus Aurelius recognized that in silence we can find the answers we're searching for. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This reminds us that our inner world shapes our outer reality. By spending time in silence, we can cultivate thoughts that are aligned with our values, goals, and true selves. Silence also improves our relationships. When we learn to be comfortable with stillness, we become better listeners. Instead of rushing to fill every gap in conversation or reacting impulsively, we can pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. This kind of presence and patience deepens our connections with others and fosters mutual respect. In a world that constantly demands our attention, embracing silence is an act of rebellion and an act of self-care. It's a way to reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. It's a reminder that you don't need to be constantly doing, achieving, or entertaining to find value in your life. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, distracted or disconnected, remember this: silence isn't empty. It's full of possibility. In those quiet moments, you can find clarity, strength, and a deeper connection to yourself and the world around you. Because, as the Stoics teach us, the most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have in silence with yourself. 9. Practicing fairness in your interactions. Fairness. It's a principle we all value, yet it's not always easy to practice. In our daily interactions, it can be tempting to prioritize our own needs, make snap judgments, or let emotions cloud our judgment. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, believed that fairness is one of the highest virtues, essential for building trust, respect, and meaningful connections. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This simple yet profound idea reminds us that fairness isn't just about individual gain. It's about contributing to the greater good. When we act with fairness, we create harmony not only in our relationships, but also within ourselves. Being fair means treating others with respect, understanding, and integrity, even when it's inconvenient or difficult. Let's start with a fundamental truth. Fairness is a choice. In every interaction, we have the opportunity to act with equity and kindness, or to let bias, self-interest, or frustration take over. Practicing fairness requires us to pause, reflect, and consider not just what benefits us, but what's right for everyone involved. Imagine a workplace scenario. You're a team leader, and a conflict arises between two co-workers. One of them happens to be a close friend, and your instinct is to take their side. But fairness demands that you step back, listen to both perspectives, and base your decision on facts, not personal feelings. It might take more effort, but by acting fairly, you earn the trust and respect of everyone involved. Seneca. Another great Stoic philosopher said, "The fairest way to live is to accept things as they come, and to treat others as you would have them treat you." This idea of fairness isn't limited to grand gestures or big decisions. It applies to the small, everyday moments that define our character. It's about letting someone merge into your lane during rush hour, giving credit where it's due, or offering a listening ear even when you're busy. These acts of fairness may seem small, but they build a foundation of trust and goodwill that strengthens relationships and communities. Fairness also requires empathy, the ability to see things from another person's perspective. When you're in a disagreement, it's easy to focus solely on your own point of view, but practicing fairness means taking the time to understand the other person's feelings, needs, and experiences. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but it does mean treating their perspective with respect. Let's take a modern example: social media. It's a space where fairness is often forgotten, replaced by quick judgments and heated arguments. Before responding to a post or comment, ask yourself, am I being fair? Am I considering the other person's point of view? Am I contributing to the conversation in a constructive way? By approaching online interactions with fairness, you can create a more respectful and productive dialogue. Practicing fairness also extends to how we treat ourselves. Often, we hold ourselves to impossibly high standards, judging our mistakes harshly while being more forgiving toward others. Fairness means offering yourself the same compassion and understanding you'd offer a friend. It means recognizing that you're human, that mistakes are part of growth, and that you deserve kindness too. Marcus Aurelius believed that fairness is rooted in self-discipline. He wrote, "Do not do what you would blame others for doing." This principle is a powerful guide for daily life. When you're about to make a decision, pause and ask yourself, if someone else did this, would I think it's fair? If the answer is no, it's time to reconsider. Fairness isn't just about following rules. It's about aligning your actions with your values and treating others as equals. Here's a practical exercise to bring more fairness into your life. 1. Pause before acting. When faced with a decision or conflict, take a moment to reflect on your intentions. Are you acting out of self-interest, or are you considering what's fair for everyone involved? 2. Listen actively. In any disagreement, make a conscious effort to hear the other person's perspective without interrupting or jumping to conclusions. 3. Ask for feedback. Fairness often requires self-awareness. Invite others to share how your actions affect them and be open to learning from their insights. Treat yourself fairly. When you make a mistake, avoid harsh self-criticism. Instead, reflect on what you can learn and move forward with compassion. Fairness isn't always easy. It requires patience, humility, and a willingness to put yourself in someone else's shoes. But the rewards are immense. When you practice fairness, you build trust, deepen relationships, and create a sense of harmony both within yourself and in the world around you. Imagine a society where fairness guided every interaction, where people treated each other with respect, listened without judgment, and made decisions based on principles rather than personal gain. While you can't control how others act, you can contribute to this vision by practicing fairness in your own life. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, fairness is about more than following rules. It's about living with integrity. It's about choosing what's right, even when it's hard, and holding yourself accountable to the values you believe in. So the next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, remember this. Fairness isn't just about what's easy or convenient. It's about what's right. Choose fairness, and you'll not only strengthen your relationships, you'll strengthen your character too. 10. Keeping your goals clear and focused. Goals are the compass that guide our lives, giving us direction and purpose. Yet how often do we let distractions, doubts, or competing priorities cloud our focus? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, believed that living a meaningful life requires keeping your goals clear, staying committed to them, and pursuing them with unwavering focus. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions." This is the essence of clear and focused goal setting. It's not about juggling endless priorities or trying to do everything at once. It's about identifying what truly matters and dedicating yourself fully to those pursuits. Let's start with a common challenge: the temptation to overcommit. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to say yes to too many things, projects, invitations, tasks, only to find yourself stretched too thin. When your energy is scattered across countless priorities, it's impossible to give your best to any of them. Marcus Aurelius would remind you to step back, reflect, and focus on the few goals that align with your values and purpose. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, echoed this idea when he said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." This means that trying to do too much often leads to achieving very little. Instead, focus on depth over breadth. Choose one or two goals that matter most to you and pour your energy into them. By doing less but doing it well, you'll make more meaningful progress. Clear goals also require self-awareness. What do you truly want to achieve? What drives you? It's easy to adopt goals based on external pressures, what society expects, what others think is important, but these rarely bring lasting fulfillment. Marcus Aurelius believed that meaningful goals come from within. They're rooted in your values, your passions, and your sense of purpose. Here's an example. Imagine you're considering a career move. One option offers more money but takes you away from what you love, while the other aligns with your passions but offers less financial reward. Clear and focused goal setting requires you to ask yourself, what matters more to me, financial security or pursuing work that fulfills me? When your goals align with your values, the path forward becomes much clearer. Keeping your goals focused also means breaking them down into actionable steps. A big, ambitious goal can feel overwhelming, but when you divide it into smaller tasks, it becomes manageable. Marcus Aurelius encouraged focusing on what's immediately in front of you rather than getting lost in the enormity of the journey. He wrote, "Don't be overheard complaining about life, not even to yourself. Do your work step by step and complete it as best you can." This advice is timeless. Whether you're writing a book, training for a marathon, or building a business, the key is to focus on the next step. Write 1 page, run 1 mile, take 1 meaningful action. Over time, these small, consistent efforts add up to big achievements. But staying focused isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you let go of. Distractions are everywhere, and they can easily derail your progress. Social media, endless notifications, and the opinions of others can pull your attention away from what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius believed that discipline is essential for maintaining focus. Here's a practical exercise to help you keep your goals clear and focused. 1. Write down your top 3 goals. Be specific. What do you want to achieve, and why does it matter to you? Eliminate distractions. Identify the things that pull your attention away from your goals, whether it's unnecessary tasks, digital distractions, or toxic relationships, and set boundaries to protect your focus. 3. Break it down. Divide each goal into small, actionable steps. Focus on completing 1 step at a time rather than getting overwhelmed by the bigger picture. Reflect regularly. Take time each week to review your progress, celebrate small wins, and adjust your approach if needed. Another aspect of keeping your goals clear is understanding that setbacks are part of the journey. Marcus Aurelius faced countless obstacles as an emperor, from wars to political unrest, yet he never let these challenges derail his focus. He viewed obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger and more resilient. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every challenge you encounter is a chance to learn, adapt, and grow. Instead of letting setbacks discourage you, use them to sharpen your focus and recommit to your goals. Clear and focused goals also require patience. In a world that prioritizes instant results, it's easy to feel frustrated when progress is slow. But meaningful achievements take time. Marcus Aurelius would remind you to trust the process, stay consistent, and focus on the effort rather than the outcome. Let's take a modern example. Imagine you're learning a new skill, like playing the piano or coding. At first it feels daunting. There's so much to learn, and progress seems painfully slow. But if you stay focused, practice regularly, and trust that small efforts will add up, you'll eventually see results. At its core, keeping your goals clear and focused is about living with intention. It's about aligning your actions with your purpose, staying disciplined, and not letting distractions pull you off course. When you live this way, you not only achieve more, you also find a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed or unsure, pause. Reflect on your goals. Let go of what doesn't matter and focus on what does. As Marcus Aurelius teaches us, clarity and focus are the keys to living a meaningful and purposeful life. So, what have we learned from Marcus Aurelius and his timeless Stoic wisdom? Life, in all its complexity, is filled with challenges, distractions, and opportunities for growth. But at its core, the path to a stronger mind and a more fulfilling life comes down to living with clarity, intention, and virtue. We've explored 10 powerful principles: facing fear, focusing on what you can control, exercising patience, learning from criticism, adapting to change, acting with virtue, letting go of distractions, embracing silence, practicing fairness, and keeping your goals clear. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're practical tools you can use every day to navigate life with resilience and purpose, as Marcus Aurelius reminded us. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't about fear, it's about urgency. It's about using the time you have to focus on what truly matters, to act with integrity, and to build a life you're proud of. So, take these lessons and make them your own. Face your fears with courage. Stay present in what you can control. Treat others and yourself with fairness and kindness. Protect your focus and pursue your goals with clarity. And most importantly, live in a way that reflects the person you aspire to be. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who could use a little Stoic inspiration. And remember, building a stronger mind isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Until next time, stay grounded, stay intentional, and keep moving forward.